Da det såpass mye som skjer i smaksbildet. Man blir rett og slett glad av det ølet her. Vinneren av kategorien Årets øl er
Well, my story with food, I think, well, it started in the kitchen. My dad's a chef, so I kind of grew up in the kitchen, I would say. Being able to just experiment and play with different sauces and marinades and herbs and spices, smelling and tasting. But I did also, a part of it started also in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam. At a restaurant called De Kaas. It's absolutely one of my favorite restaurants all time. That's where the king, queen of Netherlands go and eat. Jamie Oliver, Cameron Diaz. I brought my homebrew there back in the days when I started doing homebrew. And the owner came by, quite curious of who brought some homebrew from Norway. He tasted it and loved it, and actually invited me and my friend to come down again so he could show us the countryside of Amsterdam. And we did, just a couple of months later. And I brought some more homebrew, and he was impressed and he enjoyed the beer. And I kind of left Amsterdam that time, just decide that I'm gonna start a brewery. This is what I want to do. This is both beer and food, and as I said, as a kid, being able to experiment on the kitchen, I think that reflects a lot of what drum brew is today. We've got a beer with carrots, we've got ginger and chilies, and that's kind of what I think drum brew is. Always exciting that you might have some beers that you put away, that you brewed just as a test batch many years ago, and yeah, it's not much here, but it is some. There we go. Wow, this is just a this is actually before we made the milk stout with the, you see, M15. That's the yeast we use now. It's a Mangrove Jack M15 Empire Ale, and we actually use that yeast in the Gin Ale, the milk stout, and the golden ale that we just released now a week ago. So this is how the label was going to be or look like. So you can see that we actually changed the hop with the goat, and it's not chef's port, it's king's port. But we might. God, I'm curious of how this tastes, but I'm not going to open it now, I think. Or should we? Here is some others, I don't know what they are. I think this one's an IPA. I remember that we brewed an IPA, real old school IPA with just tons of hops, high in alcohol, so this is probably also quite nice. And yeah, we've got some, this is just a beer from our neighbors, Kärlinglands from Lillesand. They make great beer as well. So it's not that, but it's always nice to come down here to see what we put. And this is actually the Grand Cru. Yeah, my brother must have put this down because we just bottled that 2 weeks ago. Interesting.
My name is Kjetil Jikun. I guess that in the beer world I'm most famous for being the founder or the co-founder of Nøgne, the first modern craft brewery in Norway. At the moment I have a small brewery on the island of Crete in Greece, and also a vineyard and a wine project there. I would like to add that I'm also quite proud of the fact that I am the first person who brewed sake, the Japanese rice beverage, commercially in Europe. So yeah, done a few interesting things over time. I met Erlend first time at Arendal's Brewery. It's very simple because he brews his beers there and I brew my beers for the Norwegian market there. So there we met and we started to discuss and talk about different projects, and then we realized that it would be the perfect opportunity to brew a beer together. Erlend is a very passionate person, and he's even though he has a business as a beer brand, Drum Brew, he's not really what you would call a businessman. He's in it for his passion, for his love, for first of all beer, but he has always he's totally understood the fact that beer, craft beer, is not only about beer, it's about people. And he's a great communicator, and he connects people, and he works with people. And I think this is his strength, the love of people, the love of flavors, the love of interacting.
My goal? Wow. Well, my goal is actually to, you know, have a brewery with the restaurant, and you know, the possibility of having people stay over, so you could actually travel from abroad and come to Norway, the south of Norway. It's beautiful here, but to being able to stay a place, visit the brewery, being able to taste all of our beers, and also food that is perfectly combined with the beer. Yeah, I think that is the main goal.
I think Norwegian craft beer has very high quality, and for that reason, I think Norwegian craft beer is very well respected among craft beer drinkers all over the world. It's great fun to work with Erlend and to reach out and be like ambassadors for this. At the moment, we don't do much export, if any at all. But of course, craft beer is a global phenomenon, and we have friends everywhere. Arendal, Grimstad, the area in the south, is not really the epicenter of good beer in Norway. I think it's more like Oslo and Bergen. So the location here is not really perfect for making good beers, but I guess we all come from somewhere, and we just start doing things where we're from. But I would like to point out that it's very interesting that in Grimstad, where Nøgne was started, they had a long tradition for making fruit wines, like from rhubarb and other fruits. And then Nøgne came up as the first modern Norwegian or craft brewery in Norway. And shortly after, we had the first distillery in Norway. That was Puntervoll, which is now the Norske Brenneri. And it's interesting that a small town as Grimstad has had so much success in making alcoholic beverages in an area where their mainstream religion is very much against alcoholic beverages. That's a paradox. Beer and the quality and the characteristics of a beer, it's very different from wine. In wine, you have the season and it changes from one year to the next, and people discuss the different vintages. In beer, typically you would not, and you would expect the maltster to do the malting procedure in such a way so that the quality is the same from one year to the next, to the next, to the next. And we craft brewers, we try to have consistency in quality. And our goal is to brew the beer the same way every time so that you will not notice which batch it is. It should be the same. It's what it's like to be a professional brewer. And for sure, Erlend and I will do our best to make sure that the next batches of this carrot beer will be exactly similar. That's our goal. If you, as a consumer, as a beer drinker, will see any difference or taste the difference, then we have failed.
First of all, I do really respect my wife more and more. Looking back at the beginning, just having, beer in the whole house was just a brewery mainly. Just being patient with me, believing that it would work out. I would not have been able to do this without her, no matter how. So yeah, Elizabeth has been a major, rock in this trip, if I can say that. My brother, absolutely. My brother, he was the one that kind of introduced me to brewing, and he's, we're quite different, me and my brother. At the same time, very similar. He's kind of the handyman that just fixes everything. He can. I know that if I'm having trouble with anything, making or transporting or moving, he's got the idea if I don't. So my brother has always been there at my side. And of course my dad, I've spoken a lot about him because, he's the one that kind of made the gave me the passion for food and spices. I remember him, he wanted to teach me and my brother about tastes and smells. And I remember once he given me a stick. We were out camping, and he gave me a stick and saying, "All right, Alan, I want you to chew this stick and say what you taste." And I was just a kid, and I remember just taking a bite of the stick, and it just tasted horrible. And he said, "Well, I didn't ask you for the texture. I asked you for the taste." And that kind of did something to my head, because he's got right, it's not the texture, because that was horrible. That was just... But when he asked me to find the taste of this stick, I suddenly noticed soil and kind of a grassy, green apple. Something just started there. And after that, I think I was chewing and tasting everything. Hans Petter Clemetsen from Smagen Behag, he's been very important because he's an amazing chef, but he's also a dead serious, honest guy. You need a guy like that when you're doing a brewery. You need someone that you get the right answer from, or not the right answer, but the honest answer. So that's helped a lot.
Hans Petter Clemetsen driver Smagen Behag i Grimstad og i Kristiansand. Møtte Erlend tilbake i 2016-2017 i forhold til øl. Jeg kjente han litt før det.
Det har vært en vill reise, men jeg husker veldig godt. Jeg tror det her var vel et av de første stedene som betydde virkelig stort å få forholdet inn på. Og jeg husker jeg var pissnervøs. Men jeg husker også at når jeg gikk ut herfra, og du sa ja, men du kan ta med plass av den. Da husker jeg hadde den følelsen med at nå kan jeg få komme inn hvor som helst. Altså, det var
det er jo hyggelig. Da. Du hadde sånn entusiasme som jeg digget, og en entusiasme for smak, og de tingene, og det trenger man. Man trenger lidenskap, da. Og hvis det er noen som har vist lidenskap til hva de holder på med, så er det deg. Og det er derfor jeg heier så fryktelig. Du vil det så skikkelig, og du har levert vanvittig kule øl i etterkant. Det er litt sånn, sammen med mine gjester, eller vårvis med kokker. Jeg sammenligner det her veldig med å være kokk. Vi lager ofte retter som vi blir lei av. Sant? Så kokker hele tiden søker å lage mer og mer spesielt, så vi skal tilfredsstille vår egen gane, veldig ofte. I stedet for at du tenker, få det litt enklere. Ikke pøs på som det er så mye forskjellige smaker. Less is more. Det tar litt tid før at man forstår de tingene. I gamle dager jeg hadde alt for mye smaker på alt. Jeg var for less is more. 1, 2, 3, 4 ting på en rett. Det skal holde, og retten skal være spennende nok. Ta det litt inn i øl nå. Ikke kludre for mye med tingene. Det er mitt tips da. Og så kan man gjøre kule ting.
Imperial gulrot gose fra Drum Brew.
Det er mulig!
Wow!
Fy søren! Oi, det var gøy.
Ja, wow, det er jo
var gøy.
helt vanvittig.
Ja.
At the beginning, you know, when I came back from Amsterdam, saying that, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna start a brewery. Maybe 80% just kind of, well, yeah, laughed it away and said that, you know, there's a lot of breweries now, that's not possible. And that kind of gave me a drive to just, you know, do it better and just keep on doing it. But there was quite a lot of people also that they said that, wow, this is cool, you know, I hope you manage. But you could see on their faces that they didn't mean it. They kind of just like thought that it's never gonna happen. So a lot of people doubted it, and I think it's very important to stick with the people that believe in you, so you could, you know, share ideas with someone. Because at the beginning, a lot of ideas sound crazy. Just like when we were out in the carrot field talking about making a carrot gose. You know, that must sound just stupid. And let's put some spices from the gin harahun and put it on an oak barrel, sell one bottle for 1,000 kroners. I think that's also something that would just sound stupid. So, but you know, you mustn't listen to the people around you. You just gotta follow your dream and dream crazy and big, I think. And we're here now to actually taste the beer that's just won actually Norway's Beer of the Year. And this has been lying here on an oak barrel for a year now, and I'm so excited.
So am I.
What do you think?
It's like unwrapping a present, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
How I felt brewing the best beer in Norway. Well, that felt amazing. You know, as I said earlier, I've got a passion for food, and I've always wanted to, you know, work with food or beer or something like that, and to have, you know, some of the best chefs in Norway, you know, saying that your beer actually is the beer that we enjoyed the best. Yeah, it touches something in me, and we couldn't have won any other prizes better, I think.
Wow.
This smells like nothing I've ever smelled, honestly. I don't know what to say.
I'm actually surprised because this is a relatively old barrel. It's been used for cognac, it's been used for gin.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel that the oak and the vanilla comes out in a very nice way. It's not overpowering at all, but it's there in the background.
I really find the fruitiness and the floral,
Mm-hmm.
and the color is just so much more golden and clear than I would ever expect.
Yeah, totally. And I also find that the gin spices are there, but it doesn't overpower at all. It's beautiful. I have to try it. Wow. It's very crisp. It has layers and layers and layers of fruit and spices. There's the thing with this. You don't know which way it goes as from the microbiological perspective, but nothing has gone wrong here. There's no acetic notes. There's no unwanted sourness. It's beautiful.
I'm so surprised that it hasn't changed, but it has changed into something else. I think it's like, yeah, the sourness just surprised me because it's really balanced.
Yeah, totally. Wow. This should be packaged now.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Must be at its peak. It's awesome. Fantastic.
I agree. Well, let's do that. Let's get it out.
Congratulations.
Same to you. Thank you so much. Soon we're releasing a beer that has been on the journey, and it probably will be Norway's most expensive beer. But I can definitely kind of, easily explain why. It's not going to give us money enough to, drive around in Porsches or waste money. It will help us, absolutely. But the beer that we won with 2020, without knowing that we would win the beer of the year in Norway, we put 300 liters on an oak barrel, Remy Martin oak barrel, and just the work with that. A year ago we stood for 3 days and we just squeezed 1.2 tons of carrots. Just the price on that is quite high. The transport the carrots to another part of Norway, to wash them, get them back, to press them, working with a combination of all of this, the spices from Harahorn. We did win the beer of the year, and we only had a small quantity of that batch. So I'm glad that we put these 300 liters on an oak barrel, and we, for the size that Drum Brew are, we actually used 140,000 kroners on stuff to get this beer out before even knowing if it had turned to vinegar, which direction it would have gone. So we did maybe the biggest risk we could have done, and I think if this beer would have gone wrong, we'd had problems. The beer is going to be very expensive, but it is also only 380 bottles in a nice box with a special designed opener, a lovely label dipped in wax. And I must say that the beer it's one of the best beers I have tasted, and I hope the people think the same. But its expiry date we put on 2044 because this is with a pH that's very low, so you could definitely put it away and enjoy it in many years. And after these 300 bottles are gone, there's nothing left, so that's also a thing. Should we sell them or should we keep them with our beer tasting? And decided to sell them, but for that we have a quite high price. Yeah, this is just amazing. You know what I want to do? I want to invite Kjetil Jikun and Hans Petter and Odd Nelvik from the Norske Brenneri, and let's just stay at the cottage, and me and Kjetil can brew beer. Odd Nelvik and they can just about the liquor, and Hans Petter would definitely go crazy just picking the shellfish and the seaweed, and we could go fishing. Definitely going to do that. So that's the goal for the next month. En i uka? Nei. Den har vi jobbet masse sammen. Så det er
Veldig generøst. Tusen takk.
Jeg tenkte vi kunne ha med ikke sabel. Ja. Jeg tok med svaler. Ja. Du har en hus til i klassen?
Ja. Jeg er god så. Klar for det.
Nei, jeg var på lørdag. Ja. Så hadde jeg smaken. Der var det en veldig irritert. Da skulle jeg gjerne ha det, for det var noe som var veldig dumt.
Okay.
Det må jo... Det gjør jo at du får jo... Teknisk, da.
Det tar vi.
Vil du?
Vi hadde 68 grader, og så har vi tilsatt malt som har kjørt dette ned i noen grad. Og nå etter hvert som dette blir sirkulert, så vil vi se at temperaturen går ned litt. Og da vil vi måtte sette på varmen. Men jeg vil tro at nå er kjernen av det vi nettopp lesket inn. Nå er den nede på 64 eller noe sånt. Altså. Og grunnen til at dette er så viktig, det er fordi at på den optimale temperaturen for beta-amylase-enzymet er på 63 grader. Da får du korte sukkerforbindelser som kan gjære helt ut, som gjæren kan metabalisere 100%. Da blir det et tørt øl med mye alkohol. Mens på 72 grader så aktiviserer du den optimale temperaturen for å aktivisere alfa-amylase-enzymet. Og det lager komplekse, lange sukkerforbindelser som gjæren bare i noen grad kan spise. Og da får du et søtt øl med lite alkohol. Og så når vi legger oss på en temperatur midt imellom, for eksempel da 68, så styrer vi den balansen mellom korte og komplekse sukkerforbindelser.
Det er jo gassbok.
Vaktlegg, sprøtt rugbrød.
Ja. Og mayo.
Nei, en hollandes.
Hollandes, ja.
På ramsløk. Så har jeg tørka ramsløk her. Herlig. Begynner du, nå snur han, for jeg ser det litt varmere her inne. Så her har jeg laget en, som saus da, så har jeg laget en hummerbisk som er redusert ned, jevnet litt grann, og så montert opp med bitte grann rømme. Bare sånn blir tykner litt og ligger, liksom, så blir det en hvit pizza egentlig da, med hummer. Det her jeg synes er faen så gøy, vet du. Se på det der da. Og denne skal vi gjøre det.
Jeg er enig. Hadde vi plass, så skal vi ha en tannløs korona til deg her.
Oi, tannløs korona. Yes.
Og lå trakk litt, så den ble litt varm. Så den er nok litt, men den ble en fin krem, men det er nok litt kokt egg i bakgrunnen der. Litt posjert egg, men vi overlever det.
Men det var veldig fint til den dealen. Det var helt nydelig til. Med kombo.
Det er bare sånn, det er jo sånn trøffelsesong, du får trøffel på alt. Koker det, reduserer den ned, og så trekker de aspargesen i den aromatiske hvitvinslaken. Og det gjorde de ofte med artisjokk, for da mister ikke den fargen heller på grunn av syra. Men det er jo
Ja, da har vi en...
Men så må du samtidig treffe skjøyten.
skjøyten, ikke vel?
Ja, litt rart, ja.
Hva er skjøyten?
Ja. Ok, er dere klare?
En, to...
Ok da.
Ja, den var lekker.
Tusen takk.
Jeg skulle nesten tro du hadde gjort det.
Arendals julebrusvasker i hele går.
Oi. Og vi koser oss med låsen, så til den er ferdig, så går vi over på den.
Egne meninger. Og mye mer blomster. Mye mer vil gå i knapp i urtehagen før vi høster det. Og her er det fersk dill, og jeg husker ikke, jeg tror ikke denne har gått i knapp, men det er jo som sagt enda bedre hvis det går i knapp, og så bare bruker, altså at det er krondill. Det er fersk sitronmynte, som vi dyrker selv, så det fersk sitrus, den dyrker vi ikke. Men vanligvis så bruker vi jo tørka skall. Fersk sitrus, så vi importert, men hvor vi skjærer opp i biter.
Sicilianske, eller?
Mener du skall?
Nei, da mener jeg hele frukten. Hele frukten. Fordi det som jo problematisk jo det hvite i frukten. Ja. Så vi jo veldig glad i jusen, og vi har produkter hvor vi nyttiggjør oss. Nå må ikke spise mens jeg prater, så ikke maten blir kald. Vi nyttiggjør oss alt. Altså, vi har til og med, når vi bruker sitronskall til harehorn, så presser vi jusen. Når vi klarner jusen bruker vi også, altså klarner han og tilsetter 45% sprit, så har vi en helt klar, ekstremt høy naturlig syre. Til og med det...
I og med at du må tynne ned for å tilsette...
Du kan si det 50-50 med 96 og jus.
Så det at du har all jusen, det jo... Du trenger jo noe som ikke alkohol flytende likevel.
Ja.
Matematikken rundt...
Nei, vi bruker jusen og sprit, og så klarner vi det med klarningsmiddel. Og til og med det som vi klarner ut med klarningsmiddelet, redestillerer vi og bruker som en smak. Og fantastisk godt. Det faktisk det aller beste, men det kan vi ikke basere noen produkter som vi skal produsere over år på, fordi det så lite vi får av det. Men så vi har en ekstrem fokus på å nyttiggjøre oss alt. Altså her skal det, og det lille som blir til overs, det skal tilbake til bonden. Så vi har null organisk avfall på bedriften. Alt går tilbake. Men det med...
Bytta flammer på
Det bare fantastisk å være her og få opplevd det samspillet som mellom så flinke fagfolk. Det Drømbrew holder på med så spennende, og jeg sikker på at alle dere som ikke har kjennskap til det, vent, se 3 år fra nå, se hva han har fått til. Og med de flinkeste folka i området rundt seg, som alle vil han det aller beste, så kommer han til å lykkes, og han kommer til å inspirere oss alle til at vi skal bli så mye bedre.
Skål. Det har vært en helt fantastisk kveld. Å møtes litt på tvers av fagene. Der kokk, destillatør, bryggere møtes sammen og bare deler erfaringer og ideer. Det mange som tror det. Det bare helt magisk. Og det faktisk flere samarbeid på gang som kommer til å utvikle seg. Jeg kan ikke si så mye om det nå, det litt for tidlig, men ting kommer ut av dette som veldig positivt. Og en fantastisk kveld, både sosialt og faglig, faktisk.
Jeg synes det en fantastisk kveld. Hyggelig å sitte med fagfolk på ølfronten. Vi har legender. Vi har legender på jeg kaller det brennvisfronten. Altså det norske brenneri med Jon Bertelsen og Odd Nelvik. Det magisk. Det har vært en fantastisk kveld. Og så har du Erlend som vil og klarer så ekstremt mye. Og leverer øl etter øl på ekstremt høyt nivå. Så jeg jo bare en kokk. Jeg er utrolig glad for å være med på reisen og mene noe. Så jeg vil bare si til Erlend, tusen takk.
Ja, i kveld så har vi jo også kombinert fantastisk måltid med godt øl, med godt brennevin. Og det viser seg at det en fantastisk kombinasjon. Så har jo Kjetil også hatt en fantastisk åpen hva kalles det? Peis? Ild? Bakerovn, ja. Og der har vi lagd all maten i kveld i bakerovnen. Altså, det helt utrolig hvilke smaker vi har fått ut av det. Og med disse ord så tar jeg meg en liten whisky. Og det ikke hvilket som helst whisky, det en norsk whisky. Vi har akkurat begynt, tenk på det. Vi har akkurat begynt å lage norsk whisky, norsk single malt. Og i Grimstad så var vi de første som kom med single malt whisky, og det kom i 2012. I 2012. Fra Ole Puntervold. Og nå vi i gang for alvor med en norsk whisky. Eiktyrne. Skål. Skål.
Har du klappet?
Ja.
It is just fantastic to be here with... Ja,
Jeg som sa det, det var på engelsk.
Det var gøy. Som vokser i stranda på...
Ja, jeg vet jo hvordan det er, ja.
Og den er litt søtere enn vanlig gressløk. Og fungerer med solbriller når den er solet med. Så intens deilig vanlig. Kjører den på 6 år.
Han skal til den innerste for...
Ja, det er deilig skal være sånn.
Du vil det?
Ja, ok. Han må være sånn.
Når du snakker om majonesen, så jeg sa det til Kathy for familierelasjoner har sin utfordring, og det har vi alle frampå, og jeg føler på det, og min søster og sånn der. Jeg må si det.
Nei, det bare gir gass.
Ja.
Jo, men du spiste jo masse mat.
Tor...
Den er magnetisk! Det var faen meg rett.
Nå kan du vite at det også stekker mobiltelefoner inne på...
Og sto på, og så fikk du jo noen problemer med noe revmatisme. Men søren, jeg hadde så store stålglass. Hun tok ting og bare jobba, altså. Men det, for det er
Og vann og...
mennesker, og du har problemer med ditt, og sånn, så æres det som æres bør, ikke sant? Og det kan ingen ta fra henne.
Skål, dere! Fantastisk...
Vi har Harald.
Tankery, er det det?
Og så har vi litt Fever Tree.